Cancer, welcome to your September 2020 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So as the month begins, the Sun and Mercury are in an area that is all about communication, the third house. The third house is also the house that is about your siblings, neighbors, aunts and uncles, cousins, people close to you, and your immediate area. The third house can be news, can be the social media, it can be communication of any form. And so with the Sun here, this is taking center stage in your life. You could be teaching, like tutoring or learning some skill, some practical skill. It can take all kinds of forms in that case, especially with Mercury there. This is Mercury's domain. So anything to do with like writing projects or public speaking, teaching, which is a form of public speaking, I guess you could say if you're in front of a classroom, could be featured, and doing maybe being hired in that type of career, that type of job at some point. On the 5th, Mercury goes into Libra. And so this is a cardinal sign, and therefore is, an angular house. This is the 4th house of home and family. Well, Cancer, this is the house that you rule. So this is an area that you're very familiar with, the 4th house. Mercury can involve documents, and so perhaps when Mercury was in the 3rd house, you were researching, where would I like to live, where I could just kind of walk here, walk there, feel that sense of the community, kind of researching communities. And now that Mercury is in the 4th house, it's down to like, if you're going to be buying a house or something along those lines, then you're getting prepared with the documents. Mercury in the 4th house can be talking to your parents, especially the mother. Could be thinking about your childhood for whatever reason, or researching. Cancer, since you rule this house, you may be involved with genealogy in researching your roots, and so you might be trying to find out, about your family tree when Mercury is in the 4th house. On the 6th, Venus goes into Leo, and this is the sign right after you. This is great because this is your 2nd house of earned income, and because Venus rules this house as it is, having the transiting Venus come here indicates like a double Venus type of energy. And that's very good for money matters, for attracting money to you. You may be spending money on luxury items. So in other words, if you usually are the kind of person who's rather frugal, you might be splurging a little bit more at this time for whatever reason. And this is also a house of self-worth. So just like it might be your net worth, it's also your self-worth. And because of that, you might be feeling like an enhanced self-esteem. And that, interestingly, may lead to another type of expenditure, or may lead to you spending money on a luxury item because you believe you deserve it. So isn't it interesting that sometimes people who have a shopping addiction will use buying things to try to make themselves feel better, to lift their spirits, or to enhance their self-esteem if they're buying status symbol items. And yet, it can also be the case where, because you have self-esteem, if you're somebody who tends to, or increase self-esteem, if you, are buying something that maybe costs a lot of money, but you feel that it's something that would improve your life, that it's easier to do so when you have better self-esteem, because you might have been depriving yourself of something because you thought that you didn't deserve it at a deeper level. And this is kind of, changing that within yourself. One of the big stories of September is that Mars is going retrograde on the 9th. This is in Aries, another angular house for you. And that house is the 10th house of career, and you have Mars there. So while Mars was direct, Cancer, you may have been gung-ho with career matters, may have been very aggressive, but perhaps a little bit too aggressive, and maybe you stepped on some toes. Maybe you were trying to get ahead in a way that was not exactly how the other people wanted to deal with you on that level. You were being, very forceful, and that could have caused blowback. And now Mars is retrograde, and you may be kind of like pulling back. And at the same time, like if you were clashing with people in positions of authority and either deciding against it on your own or getting that blowback, that could make you feel like very frustrated. Because, you may have had a good reason to be mixing it up with authority figures or your main authority figures, because perhaps you feel that there was some injustice. Maybe you did have you did expect to get a promotion or a raise, and they refused to give it to you, or you feel that it was done for, in a deceptive way, and it pissed you off, rightfully so. You may be still working in this at this career, but feel this sense of your hands being tied. I can't get ahead. I can't. This is as far as it goes. And so that may be something that needs to be up for review. And what I think happens sometimes is that things can't move forward because they force you to go within. And it's up to the person on how to handle that frustration, because some people just can't handle it very well, and they become even more out of control. They become more rebellious because they're trying so hard to make something happen. And Mars is going to be in this house for a while. It goes direct on November 13th, but it will still continue to be in that house for weeks to come. So that means that, as a matter of fact, I want to just double check that, because I thought I was reading like months to come. I mean, going into 2021, which would be wild. Because usually Mars has a transit through one sign of like 6 weeks. So obviously the retrograde extends that period. But let me just double check here. Yeah, it actually goes into Taurus on the 6th of January of 2021. So you're going to have Mars in that 10th house for quite a while. Now, obviously, this is a general forecast, and your degree of sun or rising of Cancer will definitely affect this. As a matter of fact, let me see something here. It's funny. I seem to have skipped the full moon in Pisces for some bizarre reason. Let me tell you about that very quickly. So the full moon is happening on September 2nd at 10 degrees of Pisces. For those Cancers who are born in June, this will actually affect the house before that. So that would be the 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio in the universal chart, a water house, and connected with very deep issues, including death, rebirth, what lies beneath the surface. And this is great for, having, I was going to say this is great for having secrets come out. I don't know how great the other person feels about the secrets. And just tuning into your self-shadow work, that kind of thing. For the majority of people, this is falling in the 9th house, which is the God house. And yes, there are some similarities to the 8th and 9th houses with the spiritual angle, although I would say the 8th house is more the occult or the hidden knowledge, what has been kind of hidden from public view. The 9th house is probably more like the organized religions, the dogma of these religions, which are the different religious philosophies or other types of philosophies that people have that help them to make sense of life in a basic kind of a way. The 8th house is more of the secrets of life, hidden mysteries, if you will. And with the 9th house, this is also about academia, long distance travel. You could be graduating from getting your college diploma. And yes, you can get it in September. I mean, you could finish some coursework. Nowadays, there are all kinds of different schedules for entering and ending college. You could discover what it is that you want to study. You may be completing a trip. Maybe those who are involved with academia, if you're teaching there, you might decide to end your career. And again, with Mars in the 10th house, Mars going retrograde, you might say, that's it, the straw that broke the camel's back. I was promised tenure, and they haven't given it to me, and I'm done. I wash my hands of it. Because these places sometimes these colleges are hiring a lot of adjunct professors, and Cancer is the type that wants that sort of guarantee, that security, and it might feel like very tentative. So yeah, things like that could be happening. So I forgot to mention that. I just skipped over that. And on the 12th, Jupiter goes direct in your opposite sign of Capricorn. So that's the 7th house. Maybe there have been, if you work for yourself, your clients, there haven't been that many new clients that you have attracted. Jupiter in the 7th can give you more clients and things like that, if that's kind of where, if you work for yourself. Or, this can be a great thing for maybe meeting somebody that becomes a marriage partner, because Jupiter can expand your resources in this area. Jupiter can bring money, just like Venus. It can also bring general expansion. So in this area, if somebody, let's say, is living with a partner, and I think the typical Cancer person probably wants to make it legal. I know that that's not going to be true for all of you, but it's kind of like, hey, I want more. You view it as being more. And maybe in recent months, you've been kind of, questioning that, is it really important? Is it really necessary? And you decide that it is, and you want to move forward with that. But it can be good for relationships, one-on-one relationships in any case. On the 17th, there's a new moon at 25 degrees of Virgo. So Virgo forms a friendly angle sextile to you, coming from the third house, communication. But for a lot of you who are not born in the last few degrees of Cancer or are 24, if you're born between 0 and 24 degrees of Virgo, this is actually falling in your money house. So maybe a new income stream, a new way to make money, a new attitude about money, and so on and so forth. On the 29th, Saturn goes direct in Capricorn, your opposite sign, opposite house. And, that's another kind of a situation where I think it's kind of an interesting thing. So maybe you were kind of dating somebody and you wanted it, maybe you're not even living with them, but you wanted to get married and the other person didn't. So you just kind of like let that go. Maybe you started dating other people and now it's back on. You're more serious about it and you're ready to make it happen. Saturn direct in this house can be, it's kind of a weird house because it's dealing with other people one-on-one. But it's also, Saturn has that sobering effect. So there's like a serious angle to this, whatever this type of relationship is, it's being taken very seriously. So if it's romantic in nature, which we oftentimes associate with the seventh house, then it's wanting to settle down with that person. And that's what this house is about anyway. This is about committed partnership. So Saturn might want the whole 9 yards, the ring, this marriage certificate. The seventh house can be legal affairs. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that you enjoyed this, resonated with it. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.